Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy. And with us today, we have Wyatt Gilmore. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Laguna Creek. And this is a software company that was created to boost indigenous tourism and hospitality. And I'm super excited to learn more because I was reading about it and I think, what a great opportunity. Anyway, welcome, Wyatt.
Thank you so much, Susan. And thank you for what you're doing, spreading the word of everything positive that has to do with, Native entrepreneurship and Native people that are doing really great things amongst our community. That's very awesome to see your website and to listen to the talks that I've listened to this past week. So it's really, really great. That's our company, Laguna Creek.
Well, so tell me a little bit about yourself, your journey. How'd you get started in hospitality and tourism?
Yeah, so it's been a long, winding road to get here. I actually went to college for psychology. And then, so
that's tourism, right?
It was not tourism or hospitality when I went to college, and I graduated in that field. And then after that, through getting married and having children, I came to a crossroads to where I had to decide where I was going to make money, because I was doing it in managing a residential treatment center for troubled youth. And that just wasn't going to cut the bills when it came to the struggles that we had with our family. So I started selling websites for a different agency on the side in my free time. And then from there, it led me into entrepreneurship to build my own digital marketing company. And that was in 2016. And so from there, the successes of that one, I saw the opportunity in tourism and hospitality in the software space. And then I ventured into that space from there. So that's how I got to where I'm at now.
I'm going to bet you were pretty busy. Kids, residential treatment center, and then starting a business on the side.
Yes. And so, it's a long story, actually, because after residential treatment center and I was doing sales on the side, I had to make money quicker. And so I went into welding for a while. Oh. And then after that, I went into pest control.
Okay.
And then pest control, it was a crazy field. And here in Phoenix area, that's one of the toughest jobs. And one of those jobs that could definitely be on one of those episodes of Dirty Jobs, because you're just cleaning up poop all day and putting up fences to, barriers for pigeons to go. So it was a crazy job, but it was worth it to provide a little something for my family as I was getting my business started.
Okay. I didn't even think about pigeons back on pest control. I was thinking more of the rats and like keeping rats out. And now there's like all kinds of critters in Phoenix.
Yes.
Like bigger critters. All right. Let's talk about Laguna Creek. So one, how did you pick the name Laguna Creek? What services do you do? And how'd that get started?
I picked Laguna Creek because it was a creek that I used to play in as a kid. I'm a desert kid from Kenta, Arizona, in the heart of the Navajo Nation. And all the time I was my free time was spent in the desert a lot. And there was a creek that goes all the way from like Mexican Hat to the San Juan River, close to, Lake Powell area. So that creek goes right by our town in Kanta, and I played in it a lot as a kid, and so it was just something that popped up in our team's head that, hey, as we were driving by, what about the name Laguna Creek? So we chose that one to go forward with.
Good name. Okay. Yeah. But what do you all do? What does Laguna Creek do?
So Laguna Creek is we're a SaaS model, which is software as a service type of model. So we started out in the tourism industry for booking and reservation management. So any tour company that does tours for hiking, for horseback riding, for Jeep tours and things of that nature, they all depend on software to manage their operations effectively. They're all dependent on it, right? And so, and that in our daily lives, we're all pretty much dependent on some kind of software. We're using it all the time, whether it's through our phones, whether it's paying for a candy bar, everything has software in it. So as I was doing digital marketing for some tour companies, I saw that the these tour companies were reliant on these software companies. So I started looking into them, and I saw that they were making a lot of money off of tour companies. And one of the lifebloods of our economics in Native America, amongst all tribes, is tourism. So I saw that these software companies were making a lot of money, and then I looked into them to see how many of those companies were giving back to our communities, how many of those companies were Native owned. And I did not find one Native American owned company that was in that space or doing well, or helping our communities with the amount of money that they were making. So I saw the opportunity, and I decided to jump in that space and start a software company. And luckily I found a partner at the beginning to partner up and put in our software as a pilot for to use in their tour company. And then as we implemented it into her company, we perfected it, and then now we're starting to branch out and add on other tour companies.
So do you write the software, or do you get, like, you have a programmer, somebody who's doing all the coding or whatever they're doing for you, and then you kind of customize it depending on if it's like a Jeep tour, going down the river, or a hiking tour? Or we had somebody who was doing, I don't know if he was doing hiking or fishing down the San Juan.
Yeah.
So you would kind of customize it for them, and then the way it sounds, and let me see if I understood this correctly. So when these other companies were doing it, they were keeping a chunk and not reinvesting, like, let's say, back to Navajo, correct?
Correct.
But you do that.
Yes.
Okay. And that, and you also have a vested interest. Are you Navajo?
Yes.
Okay. When you're working with a tour company, and let's say not your software and somebody's using somebody else's, do they always take a percentage, or is there a varying percentage, or do you just buy the software and then you just use it and you keep all the profits?
Yeah, there's varying pricing models amongst software in this space, but generally the booking software that is used, they take anywhere from 6% on up to 15% for the tour industry.
That's like a lot of money.
every single ticket that is sold.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a significant amount.
For what?
Yeah, in Native American...
I mean, what, because you're using their software? That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and the market cap for Native American tourism across America is in our last report that we saw that IANTA sent out was $17.5 billion. So you can imagine, anywhere from 6 to 15% of that is...
That's a lot of money.
It's billions.
And that they're not reinvesting it.
Correct.
Into the entrepreneurs, up at Navajo or wherever.
Exactly.
And why aren't they doing that? I mean, they're just taking it. That doesn't seem right.
That's the way corporate America really is, right?
Yeah, well, that's not right.
They want to fatten their pockets as much as possible, which is the way our economy is. But that's something that I wanted to change and do it differently. I was raised by my dad on the Navajo reservation, and it was very important for us to give back and to always help one another. We didn't have a whole lot growing up, but the things that we did have, we were always willing to lend to other people when they needed it. And because we always knew that we are going to need something someday that we wouldn't have. So we would go and lend it, borrow it from our friends or our uncles or our neighbors. And so my dad always made it very important to show me and my brothers and sisters and my extended family that it was very important to go and help out auntie at sheep camp or grandma doing ranch work, anything like that, hauling wood, things of that nature is what we always did, and not even just family but other people in our neighborhood. So when I created this company, we guaranteed that we would reinvest at least 10% of our profits back into our communities through doing community service and also scholarships and things of that nature. So we just got off of our annual charity event a couple weeks ago up in Monument Valley, where we redid 5 homes, their roofs, and did a lot of different home improvement inside their homes, built wheelchair ramps for one guy, and we're going to be gifting solar electricity because they don't have electricity there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about tourism and hospitality on the Navajo Nation. I assume you're pretty well versed in that, or maybe what there is up there?
Yeah, there's some hot spots definitely on the Navajo Nation. We have beautiful land and beautiful culture, obviously. So in the Page area is one of the hot spots to where Lower Antelope Canyon, Upper Antelope Canyon, those are world-renowned canyons, just so beautiful that people visit. The
Mostly
winding
Jeep tours, right? Up that in that one?
And so that one, those are walking tours,
Okay.
but then there's also Jeep tours around the area as well. And that's a lot of Jeep tours in Monument Valley area where that was very close to where I grew up as well. And there's Canyon de Chelly, and Lake Powell is close onto Navajo as well.
So those are the big hot spots. Do you see, we talk about it here a lot. We get a lot of calls for people asking us, we go out and do a lot of blue corn mush demonstrations, and corporations and different community groups are always asking us. And I kind of wonder, which would be more local, maybe it's another thing to think about for your business. We talk about why isn't anyone doing anything like that to try to educate the general public on things like that or tourism? Do you ever see anything like that, or is that anything anybody's thought of? And then what about, I know there is one, I think there's somebody that does a Hogan up in Navajo, and I don't know if that's a business that you all hospitality, or are you doing more of the bigger, the tour groups?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm kind of off topic, but just kind of wondering about those things.
Yeah, tourism is really so expansive, and anybody can share culture and land and landscape and things of that nature with visitors and tourism. And so there's a lot of diverse different tours that we can service within our software. And hospitality is a big portion of that as well, because people need a place to stay when they're visiting our land. So I saw that opportunity, and we have developed on top of our tour side of things, PMS, which is property management software, and POS, which is point of sale software, so that we can then service all the hotels, resorts, and retail shopping, gift shops, and things of that nature, and eventually gas station and everything like that. So there's a big pain point for tribes and large corporations to where managing their properties, they have to subscribe to tons of different software. And then each different, the more software you use, the more cumbersome it is for your staff to understand, to learn, and then even for reporting and accounting, it's very expensive. And some of the software doesn't communicate with the others. And so there's a lot of different pain points there when you have to use a lot of software. So our company, Laguna Creek, is combining the tour, the PMS, and the POS into one integrated software so that we will be able to service guests in a streamlined fashion to where they can buy their room, they can buy t-shirts, they can go on tours, they can schedule everything that they want, a full vacation as you were, without having to do multiple different transactions and
that's going
awesome. Through different ways.
Right? That would be a lot easier refunding. Also for your guests, not just the staff. So I could say, okay, I want to go up to XYZ Hotel up at Monument Valley, and I want to buy a t-shirt, and I want to go on a Jeep tour.
Exactly.
Right? And I could do all of that.
Exactly, all on one ticket.
And so is there a place where you're going to have, on your website or whatever, the tour operators where you can do that?
Yes.
I want to stay at XYZ Hotel, and then I could just book my trip, book my Jeep tour, book my package of all the things I want to buy or do.
Yeah, you're catching on really fast, Susan. That's definitely the plan. We're actually at the moment raising some money to expand a lot quicker than we are now. So we're profitable and we're doing well right now, but the opportunity is there with so much advancements in AI and things of that nature that we're going to incorporate and use that for the benefit of our Native American economy. So we're going to combine all of our guests and all of our clients that are using the software to where we can do large vacation tours like that as well throughout all of Native America, not just Navajo Nation, but throughout all of Native America and Canada. Canada right now has a really big interest within actually hundreds of tours that we may be signing up here in the next year.
That would be awesome, because I think as tourists want to go to these places and want to learn more about different cultures, it would be great. I mean, I think that would be like a great central location if you raised enough capital, right?
Yes.
To do that, and then say, hey, I could go to Laguna Creek's website. Let me go look at the Navajo Nation. Let's see what's going on in First Nations in Canada, and then maybe I want to go look at a tribe upstate New York, and book an entire trip through you all.
Yes, we're going to become the online travel agency specifically for Native America.
Oh my gosh, what a
something
great...
like Booking.com or Expedia, things of that nature, where people can go and know that they're getting the authentic experience amongst Native American culture and landscapes.
That's awesome.
I think so too.
You should be very proud.
Our team is working hard, and we've done some great work up to this point.
So now you just need more money.
And now we're doing that now. That's where I just came from right now, in multiple meetings with different tribes that are very interested. So
let's hope they get on board. I think that's so important that people know that, and they know how to get the authentic experience, and that it's that you all know what you're doing, and one-stop shopping for the ease of the customer, and different options for different parts of the countries. What a great thing. Yeah. All right. So tell me, what kind of tourism would you like to see, retail and hospitality, on Indigenous lands? Like, I know what I would love to see. What would you like to see? Like any unique experiences? I know that wasn't in your question, but just kind of curious.
Yeah, I've been seeing, I'm not going to open up any tours of my own myself, because it's very difficult, and we're focusing on the software space. But I've seen a lot of really cool new tours with like night sightseeing photography that is specific, like at different times, and also luxurious packages where people fly into an area, do tours with the very best tour guide in the area, and then they fly out, because a lot of our tribal lands are in rural areas, right, and so the high-end purchasers, sometimes they just want what they want in the quickest way possible and the very best experience. And so I think a lot of our entrepreneurs on our tribal lands are looking for that, and wanting to satisfy those type of clients, which we can do, which we haven't focused on in the past, but I'm seeing more of that now that is great for everybody.
Have you seen any glamping?
Yes.
I haven't seen any glamping on any tribal lands, but
most
you
definitely.
Are seeing some?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
I can give you some references after this.
Well, not for me personally, but I just think, I think in people looking for different experiences, whether it's glamping or it's just camping or different price points, I think those experiences. And then I know there's not a lot of resources. There's like the American Indian Tourism Association, right? And then just you all. I don't know if I don't think there's other people in the space. Right. And looking out for Indigenous operators and making sure that it's authentic and it's well represented.
Yeah, it's once again, tourism and hospitality has been one of the main lifebloods of our economics amongst our tribal people. But for some reason, we still haven't taken a full advantage of what we have at our disposal. So we're going to we are doing that now to help tour owners and hospitality owners know how they can boost their traffic on their websites, how they can use better software, how they can give out better pricing by using our software, and then it's just going to circulate within our communities from there.
So Wyatt, how do you think Laguna Creek is boosting the Indigenous economy?
We are boosting the Indigenous economy first by being 100% Native owned, and then also I am always constantly trying to find Native American talent, software engineers, marketers, salesmen, sales ladies as well, just people that are very talented in that space, and we pay very handsomely for those individuals that are talented in those spaces. We may be a smaller company than the large, huge, multi-billion-dollar companies that we're competing against, but our salaries are very competitive to them, even though we are small.
And you're Indigenous owned.
Exactly.
And you're working within the community.
Exactly. And one huge thing that we're so excited about doing here this year that we're going to open up is a certification for high school students to go through a coding program. And that coding program, we're going to be teaching real life experiences in what we use in our software, what languages we use. And we're trying to find bright individuals that are on reservation lands. And then we'll be able to provide, they're going to be applying for the certification, and then we're going to be able to provide them internet access through Starlink and then their own laptops. And then from there, if they show that they are, very capable at coding, then right after high school or even during the summers, we'll be able to hire them. And I just can't say price. They can easily,
you might be
right out of
we'll
high school, they could make
a lot of money.
A lot of money that they
That's
would
crazy.
Make more than going through college, actually.
I don't think their parents would like that, but I think it's crazy that coders make a lot of money. That's just
most definitely.
And I guess you either have the aptitude or you don't. I don't know. I don't have it, so
yeah. Kids that are talented in science and math, those generally tie over very well.
The ones that are very analytical.
Engineers, yeah.
Yeah, and that can do, now they talk about like teaching preschoolers how to start coding.
Yes, exactly. We should be doing that. I've already started doing that with my son who's 7.
Really? Does he like coding? Or beginning of
he's
coding?
very interested in it. He says he is, but it's short attention span that he has with it. So.
And he's 7.
Yeah.
He's like first or
we just started.
second grade.
Yeah.
We'll continue our interview with Wyatt Gilmore after this short break. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 8800 North 22nd Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org. Native Talk Arizona returns after this song. You are listening to Spirit Horses by Annie Humphrey.
Have you seen an increase in travelers interested looking for Indigenous experiences? I mean, from the perspective of working at Native Health, I definitely see more people reaching out and wanting things and wanting to learn. Do you see that as well? And also like the number of bookings going up and just the general interest?
Yes, most definitely. The international traveler is searching for these things online a lot. And they're going to non-Native American owned, non-Indigenous owned websites that are trying to teach them about our people, right? Because we haven't built proper websites, done proper SEO and things of that nature to gain the appropriate traffic to for those people to easily find us. So I'm talking as a whole in generalities, right? So they're going to other agencies in their area and other third parties all the time to try and find out, what tours they should go on, what areas should they see in order to get the best experience with Native America. And so when they go to those agencies, though, they have their own little partnerships, and so they're always going to lead them to the same ways. So that's another space where we can definitely grow in when it comes to website traffic and those international travelers that are searching all the time.
Again, they have a lot of money.
They do.
And they want to see different things and do different things.
Yeah.
And that comes back to your glamping and your like booking.com. That's not booking.com, but maybe lagunacreek.com.
Yeah. It's going to be NativeAmericanTours.com.
How cool is that? Yeah. I certainly hope you bought that domain.
It already is. It's already up.
That would be awesome. So when you start building that and putting all those operators on there, what a great opportunity. It is so hard to find things. I know that when we're always looking for guests and doing research, like trying to find sites like that, it would be great if I had a place where I could go and just say like, hey, these are all the tour operators in, Southwest or Northwest or I don't know.
Yeah, we definitely have a piece of that on our website that you can take a look at. And if people book through our site that way, it will actually be cheaper for the user, the website user, or the person that's searching, as opposed to going through booking.com or Travelocity or TripAdvisor, who they upcharge 28 to 30%
really?
Of every ticket. Yes.
I did not know that. All right, so on the Laguna, I did not know that. So let's back up. So Laguna Creek was lagunacreek.io, right?
Yes.
And then you already have some of that stuff on there? So people
Not
can...
on lagunacreek.io because that's the holding company to all these products that I'm kind of talking about right now. So that's where we're raising our money. So it's kind of geared toward, that target market of individuals looking to potentially invest in our company. Native American Tours, though, is specifically for the tourism side of things. And
that's up?
Yes.
That site's up?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wait. Sorry. I know we were supposed to talk about Laguna Creek, but now I want to talk about NativeAmericanTours.com.
Yeah.
All right. So
which is a part of Laguna Creek anyway. So.
All right. Let's talk about that one. So what's on that site? Because I missed that.
That's completely focused on tourism amongst Native America. So it's talking about our SaaS model, our tour booking software for tour agencies. But then also we have a very well-written blog on there that's going to be talking about the different regions and coming from, the perspective of actual Native Americans in that area that know the area best. And so now we're going to be adding on the piece of all of our clientele and how people will be able to purchase through there.
Oh my gosh, I'm just sorry. I'm just looking at your social media. So are the tours, the tours that are on the NativeAmericanTours.com, is that just Arizona or is it all over the country?
It's going to be all over the country. So even though we've had quick growth, we're a young company. We're only 3 years old, and the first year and a half was just only building the software, and we just recently started adding on other clients because we have a great foundation now of the software, and now we're just barely started to expand out.
Oh my gosh, I'm just looking at your social media. Like, what a great site. Like, how cool is that for people to do that? I mean, I know we're here to talk about your software and how great your hospitality and your point of sale and everything else and how it all integrates, and it's really good for the operators. But I think also for our listeners that listen all over the world, we know what a great thing to hop on the other site and check out some of those tours and like hook up with those tour operators and do something and give back to the community and not go through the popular places that are taking all money and not reinvesting it.
Yeah, we're moving forward and making the right partnerships. Something that we're trying to work with is actually an organization out of Canada, because they're doing really well in terms of having a certification for the authenticity of arts and crafts of their Indigenous people in Canada, and also their tours and their hotels. So they call it originals. And so we're in talks with them in terms of how we can help them boost their Indigenous tourism and hospitality throughout all of Canada.
God, that would be awesome. And I think it's important that, a lot of times you'll go places and you'll see things in like made in China, the little stickers on the back, nothing's authentic, people passing things off as if they're authentic and they're not.
Even in our own shops on native lands, on reservations, there's a lot of trading posts and things of that nature. They're selling things that are just built in China. So that's something that we would love to change the tide in terms of that, and in educating the people that come to our lands and see our culture, that we would love to provide them with the most authentic, which helps the artists and also the people visiting.
Yeah, and keep the money in the community where it should stay.
Most
and
definitely.
Not give it to those other companies. So what kind of product feedback have you received from the Indigenous hospitality owners on the Laguna Creek software? Are they saying it's like super easy to use, much better than using like 3 different systems?
Most definitely. So we're really proud of what we've been able to do in a short span of time. Our software engineers have worked hand in hand every single day with subject matter experts in the field. So people that actually run tours help the software engineers to build the software, to make the user face easy to understand and to do actions very quickly, as opposed to other software. You might take 4 or 5 different clicks to do one main action. So that's something that we put as a focus to make it as easy as possible to use and to get things done so that you can do your job best, and that's entertain and satisfy your guests at your facility. So we've been able to attract clients from other competitors' software, and they are much happier using our software because of the ease of use and our knowledge of Native American tourism.
And hospitality.
In hospitality.
So if I was, let's say I was a tour operator or hospitality, and I was interested in like trying to find out more about the product, I would just call you, and then you would be able to meet with me and kind of do a demo and explain the different things that you could do with the software.
Most definitely.
And and do you customize it then?
Yes. So we have an out-of-the-box software, but we also do customized work for our clients, because we're one of the benefits of us being a small team. We don't have to get a ton of approvals. It goes through our product manager, and it goes through me. Should we customize this option here? And then we say yes, and then it gets done very quickly. So that's something that's always great feedback from our clients in terms of the way we've been able to help them customize the software that works best for them, that they weren't able to get with the other well-known products in the industry.
Well, and that's probably true. I mean, otherwise, like when you talk about it, the more layers you have, the longer it takes, and the more complicated, the more expensive, rather than just like, here you go, we'll fix this for you and make it work for you. So where do you see Laguna Creek going in the next couple of years? I know you're doing like a round of capital or whatever you're doing to raise some funds. And I'm super excited about the NativeAmericanTourism.com. I think that's like amazing. But where do you see like all of it in the next few years?
Yeah, I see us in the next few years growing exponentially, growing very, very quickly, adding on hundreds and hundreds of clients in the next couple of years with our advancement in our product. Our product is good and stable and awesome right now, but we're going to make it even better, and we're going to be a force to reckon with in this industry. We have some great ideas and understanding of how AI works right now, or we're going to be implementing some really cool features in that space to where it's going to blow people's minds and just really make the guest experience heightened, and to be able to give the information to staff right away in terms of what this guest enjoys and what they're looking for and things of that nature.
And I was just thinking, and I don't even know if this is an appropriate question. Does your software work on like Mac and PCs?
Yes.
Both.
We're web-based, and we also have a iOS app as well, mobile app that people use.
So if they don't have internet access or spotty internet, you could still run it?
Yes, we can still run that on the mobile.
Okay. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to enter the hospitality field?
The advice I would give them would be get a job at the nearest, tour operation that you can, and work from the bottom and up. Be willing to do whatever possible. Look for ways to be a valuable asset to your manager and to the company owner. Think about it every single day on your off time. It's not just about working your hours and leaving the job. The people that are going to get far in life are those people that look to expand how they can be a bigger asset and provide the best value possible. And so if you're constantly thinking about that, and you're excited about hospitality and servicing people, then jump in and start doing it right away, and don't expect the pay to raise right away very quickly, but you can definitely make a very good living in that space.
I think that's good advice. I think people often jump in and think that they don't need to pay their dues or spend a lot of time. And I think when you learn from the bottom up, and I think all that lived experience, and what works, what doesn't work. And I think sometimes people they jump in quickly and don't see the whole picture. I don't know. I think that's really good advice. So Wyatt, what drives and motivates you in your career? Is it that you were done with residential treatment facilities for youth, or what's kind of motivating you to do all this?
It kind of goes back to, it does go back to where I grew up, and that's in Kent, Arizona, on the Navajo Nation. I grew up in an area on the reservation where I saw a lot of poverty and a lot of people struggling in ways that was very different than the norm in America, in suburbia America. So the way that I saw is there was a number of different businesses being run in our town, and those businesses were like fast food restaurants and a grocery store and a couple of hotels. It's a very small town, but all of those facilities were owned and run by non-Navajos. They weren't being run by the individuals in my community. And so as I went to college and I started studying about economics, I was wondering, well, why is it that the Navajo reservation has taken longer to catch up to the rest of America when it comes to economics? One reason, obviously, is we don't have as many people, and we're in a rural area. But the main thing that I learned, and that has driven me in my entrepreneurship, is that those businesses, since they are non-Navajo, once we make money in our community, we spend it at the grocery store. So where we spend it, that money is immediately taken off of our reservation. Right. We spend it at fast food. And it's not owned by another Navajo, and so that money goes off of the reservation. So all the money that we make, we spend it, and it goes off the reservation, or we actually literally go off the reservation to spend our money at the malls and in inner cities, right? And so it's much harder for the money to recirculate within our communities. And when that doesn't happen, it's much harder for people to continually grow and exchange money. and grow economically. So that's one thing that one reason why we're not only dedicated to putting 10% back into our communities in charity efforts, but we also want to give high-paying jobs to those individuals in that area, in these residential or rural areas, so that they have high-paying jobs, and then they will in turn stay home, have opportunities that I didn't have growing up. I had to go to college outside the reservation, and then all my businesses I've had to start off of the reservation, but constantly going back there to try and do this. So, and all the other ethnic communities that do very well economically, as in per capita, the Jewish community and the Asian community and the Indian community in America, they have businesses where they do a lot of business with one another, and their dollars that they make recirculate within their communities for much longer. And that's one of the reasons that I found out why they do so well. And that's something that I'm going to try and just do my part in whatever way I can to recirculate money on our reservation lands.
Super important. I mean, I don't remember the statistics, but saying like for every dollar that you spend, and if you keep it local, most of it stays within the local community. And totally agree. I mean,
Yes.
Why would you give it to a large corporation that's going to send it off and they're going to line their pockets?
That's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, you want more employment, more education, everything to stay there. So good for you. But I'm still super excited about the Native American tours. All right. Sorry. Okay. My next question is, do you have a favorite success story or memory that you've been doing since you've been doing this? I mean, does like one tour operator stand out, or hospitality, or do you have something like, wow, I really made a difference?
Yeah, there was one tour company. So after our first client was, as we first started to branch out and market and sell to other companies, we started out in the Page area. And Ken's Tours, they run one of the Lower Antelope Canyon tours by Page, Arizona, and it's on Navajo land. They do really very well, and they're one of the premier places to go for a tour in the whole Southwest, in all of America, really. And it's world-renowned tour. So they were using a different software, one of our biggest competitors. And so we had some talks with them and their management and their ownership about, this is what we have to offer. We know we're a really new company, but we would love for you guys to come on board. This is what we can do for you. We presented to them. They said, we'll think about it maybe in the future. And then 3 months down the road, we kept communicating with them a little bit here and there. 3 or 4 months down the road, all of a sudden, at the drop of a hat, they said, hey, we want to come on board.
Awesome.
The software that we're using right now really messed up with one of our partners. They sent the money to the wrong people. It's been tens of thousands of dollars and fixes that we've had to do and all this stuff. So how soon can we get on board? And so that put our team in a lot of stress. My CTO.
Good stress, though. Good stress. Job security.
Exactly. My CTO, he was having a baby at the time, and he was working, nonstop to try and to do the data migration and integration with their new company. And so, but we got them onboarded very quickly within 2 weeks. And how big of a company they are, that is really a big undertaking. And especially for our small team at that time. We're a much bigger team now. But so then when we onboarded them, things went very smoothly. They came on board. And one of the things that they wanted to do is they have a lot of partnerships with other tours and services in the area. So they have a lot of partnerships. And so they wanted to do a sort of a la carte shopping, kind of similar that we were just talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
So that you can go on Lower Antelope Canyon tour, you can go on a boat tour, you can rent some kayaks, you can go over to Canyon de Chelly if you wanted, or something like that, right? So all their partnerships, they gave us this list and said, hey, how would it be possible to have this a la carte type of shopping on our website so that we could book this under one transaction, and then we could send this individual that purchases it to all these different tours. So there's a lot of business logic that goes into that in the software. So something that we could not find anywhere else, any other examples of any other software doing it like that. So other than like just purchasing products, right? Like on Amazon and stuff, you can just fill up your cart and go. But when it comes to the tourism and attraction spaces and stuff like that. We couldn't find anything. So we went in and we took the challenge with our developers, and they created something for them very quickly. They were actually working with one of our biggest competitors in the space for over a year and trying to do that. And what they gave them was not satisfactory. It was very cumbersome. The user interface was very confusing, and they were not getting a lot of sales from that. But once we created it for them in less than half the time it took the other company, we created it, we launched it, and it did very well for them. They were super happy about that. And yeah, they just have been nothing but congratulatory to, our software development team and what they've been able to do and provide for them.
See, it just takes one good, happy customer, right?
Yeah.
Business is all built on word of mouth and your reputation.
It was a lot of hard work, but
yes, and a lot of hard work.
Smiles after.
So Wyatt, do you feel there are more Indigenous-owned businesses now? Do you feel like it's growing? Is it kind of slow, or just like growing by leaps and bounds?
Most definitely is growing by leaps and bounds, in my opinion. So back to where I grew up, I didn't see a lot of business owners that were Native American. But then once I became an entrepreneur and I started going to these business conventions like National Res in Las Vegas and other IANTA events, that was the biggest eye-opener to me, to go to the first time I went to the National Res conference in Las Vegas
That's like huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And I just saw all these other Native American entrepreneurs, leaders in government, in business, and all these different fields. And they were doing very, very well for themselves, and just how smart and intelligent, and the camaraderie that was happening there as well. Everybody saying, let's do this together. It was very positive in terms of let's do native to native business. Let's, just all this positive talk that was kind of lost a little bit in terms of where I grew up, in terms of the positivity. Sometimes we can get lost in the negativity of reservation life and the hardships that we have there. But we can't forget, all the positivity that we have and we share as a people. And I saw that at National Res in those conventions, and I saw more and more business owners. And now, I've been in business as an entrepreneur over 9 years now. And every time I go to these events, I just get energized, because just seeing other people's stories, and I know the grind it takes to be an entrepreneur.
It's hard.
It's constant. It's nonstop. Yep. It's not a 9 to 5. It's much, much more than that. And it's taxing not only mentally, but physically, emotionally. It's taxing on your family and things of that nature. So when I see other people doing it and doing it well, and that are, other natives and doing good things for their people, it's just awesome. And I just came from a couple of meetings with some tribal leadership in the Southern California area, and they were telling me their stories about how difficult it was to start their casinos and their resorts in their area, and it's amazing. It's amazing what we've been able to do as people, how resilient we are. We've always known that, right? In the history of all of our people is just resiliency like no other. And so now we're doing it. We're putting forth our intelligence and our passions into business, and it's a government that does well for our people. So we're expanding more and more every day, I think.
That's what I was passion with you, for sure. All right, so we're almost out of time. How can listeners find more information about Laguna Creek? And I'm going to throw in NativeAmericanTourism.com.
Yeah.
How can they find you? How can they contact you, or on social media, or just a website?
Yeah, so Laguna Creek, you can search that, Native American Tours. You can search that, and we'll be one of the first or one of the first websites to pop up there. It's NativeAmericanTours.com. LagunaCreek.io is actually the website right now. And then also our social media on Facebook, Native American Tours, Laguna Creek as well. And then on X as well. We're pretty active on X and LinkedIn, Laguna Creek at LinkedIn.
Okay. And again, it's Wyatt Gilmore.
Wyatt Gilmore.
And you are the CEO, is that correct?
Owner, CEO.
Owner and CEO. All right, Wyatt, thanks for coming on. And I hope people check out Laguna Creek, but also Native American Tours.
Yes.
Tourism.com.
Thank you so much, Susan, and to Native Talk Arizona.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listentoKRDP.com.